Is it recording? Okay, sorry. Next we're going to do a Sling Psychrometer, which is this black one here. This is not electronic. Once we have this, this normally has a little cap here on the top. So once we get some new ones, we'll redo this video. But inside that one, that end, it has a little wick. A little piece of shoestring kind of. We want to make sure that that gets wet by sticking it in some water, saturated with water. And then once that's saturated with water, okay, then you want to just kind of pull this piece out, okay, to the very end, okay. And then while you're outside, you want to make sure this basically has a two readings on it. One is going to be a dry temperature, one is going to be a wet temperature. And basically going to spin this round and round at about 2 to 3 revolutions per second. And again, you want to make sure you're outside, you know, not by a wall, not by a tree. And it doesn't matter if it's clockwise or counterclockwise. That's 30 seconds. Okay, and then at the end of the minute, we're going to stop that. And then what we're going to do is we are going to look at our two temperatures in the back. And again, if you see here, the top one, there's no wick, so that's going to be your dry temperature. You see that? And that one is reading about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And then your wet temperature is going to be the wick that you just wetted. And that is at about, we'll say it's about 80. And then what you want to do, so you have a wet temperature and a dry temperature. Okay. Then what you want to do is you want to close it, so you want to push this back in. Be careful when you're putting it back in. And what you want to do is you want to line up your dry temperature and your wet temperature. Okay, so again, we had a dry temperature of 70 and then a wet temperature of 80. Okay. So if you see right here, our 70 and 80 are lined up. Okay, this again, the bottom number, the 70. Oh, sorry. It was 80 was let me do this. Yeah, we'll say that. Again, we'll say that 70 was our wet temperature and 80 was our dry temperature. Okay, so our wet temperature is on the bottom, and then here in the middle, those two is our dry temperature. I line those up, and then I look for the arrow to see where the arrow is pointing, and I see that that's pointing to 60, and that indicates that there's a 60% humidity with this unit. Okay, so again, you have a dry temperature, a wet temperature, and then you line those two numbers up, and you can either use the bottom one or the top one if it's lower. To tell you what your humidity is. Okay. The last couple things that we have for heat, we have a couple bandanas. Okay. And these are a pretty inexpensive tool that you can use to keep yourself cool. For a long period of time. Basically what you want to do with these is soak them in some water. And I have one that's already been soaking for a little bit. So as we look at this, Again, if you soak this in cool water or put it in the fridge for a little bit, make it a little bit cooler. Then as you can see, almost looks like a little snake, so it's gotten a lot thicker than before. And then you can just put this around your neck, tie it, you can put it on your head. Again, just for a few hours, and this will keep you cool while you're outside. Another item that we have, again, to help, you always want to make sure that you're wearing a good hat. Okay, if you wear, get your baseball hat. If you have a normal baseball hat, it doesn't always cover the back. So you always want to make sure that you have a good hat that's going to help protect your ears, protect the back of your neck. You still want to wear sunblock. But here's another hat that you can use to keep the sun off. Okay. You always want to make sure that your ears are protected. Okay. Also helps if it rains. So another environmental tip. You also want to make sure that if you are using sunblock, you have at least 50 or so or higher. This is zinc oxide, so you want to make sure that you apply it good to your various body parts, your nose or your ears, your neck. Also for the heat, you can also apply some lip gloss if you needed to. And we also want to make sure that we are hydrating with water or Gatorade while we're outside in the heat. And take frequent breaks. Another thing that we also want to make sure that we do is we also have a weight chart, especially with our heavier athletes, football players who might be outside a lot. With this weight chart, you can record the athlete's name, the date, the time of practice, and then you can weigh them, okay? And you can assess their percent body fat at the beginning of the season, and then just take their weights before and after practice each day, or each time they practice, and to see if how much weight they lose. And again, if they're losing about 5 to 10% of their body fat or body weight, then they're at higher risk for heat injuries, heat stroke or heat stress. And that is it for heat environmental injuries.